Okay. Hello, friends. I'm here in my living room, just getting ready to start some gentle yoga. So we've got a few minutes before we start. If y'all wouldn't mind telling me just if you can hear and see me well. We did a little test earlier, but just to make sure. Yeah, I am here, and I want to see if you all are here as well. Hannah says, yep. Okay, good. Hi, Hannah. So, and Kara, nice. It's nice to see you guys. It's definitely an odd thing, you know? I think some people watch videos all the time. This is the first time I made one. Probably wouldn't be my MO if we weren't in the situation that we're in, but given that we are, I'm happy to adapt. And yeah, it's just nice to see. It's cool that I can see your names and posts. That makes me happy. So I'm gonna go grab a timepiece. Since I'm using my phone to record, I'll be right back. Okay, so we've got about 5 minutes. So if you haven't already gathered whatever would make you comfortable, this is going to be a pretty mellow class, and so the more props the better. I realize you might not have everything that you would desire at your home, but if you do have yoga blocks, get those. If you don't, I've seen people use dictionaries and shoe boxes. I've kind of realized that these drums are the perfect size, so it could be, like anything random that's in your house that just looks like it would be sturdy and support your hands. If you don't have a strap, easy enough to use a belt or a scarf. And if you don't have blankets, and it's definitely nice to have ones that are a little bit firmer, so if you don't have something kind of solid like this, I would get like a bath towel size is perfect. It's just to support you if your knees are on the floor, or just a little support under your sit bones when you're sitting. What else? That should do it. If you happen to have a bolster, that's great. Something like this. If you do not, and you happen to have a couch cushion that's about the same size, perfect. Even just like a bed pillow to put under your knees when we're resting down would be nice. So all those little details, I definitely prefer to practice outside whenever it's nice. Today it's still pretty slushy in the backyard. But yeah, just any little details that you can do to make it nice in your space. Make sure the temperature is nice, you got little extra layers. And then we can't play music. I guess there were some licensing, whatever, issues with that. So whatever you might want to listen to, you're welcome to put on. And then I'm just checking out who else is here. Yay. Awesome. So nice to see you guys. Yeah, and the more comments, the better, because again, this is new to me. If it seems a little bit awkward, it is. So, just rolling with it. But yeah, even any little details. I won't probably be able to see the screen once we get rolling and teaching. But if you can let me know afterwards, oh, hey, you could have positioned the phone different or this or that. Any of that would be helpful. So, let's see. I got just a few more minutes, so we'll wait and see. I can give you a tour of my very exciting living room And from time to time, I may show you my peaceful dog. If you need encouragement for how to relax, she's getting really good at it in her old age. She's good at getting rowdy too, but hopefully she stays mellow while we're practicing. So there's that. And then kind of trying to find the sweet spot with my phone too, just because the screen is, little, to where we'll do a few standing poses. So just want to make sure you can see me standing, but also sitting, and then I may adjust once we're doing more like restful laying down poses. So, alrighty. Cool, and I think we'll start 6 o'clock where I'm at, so welcome you guys. Man, yeah, it's been a while, so a lot going on for sure. We won't get too in depth with all of that. I think you all have probably heard, enough about just like the current situation or whatever you want to call it. But I'll just say that adaptation is the name of the game, and it's been huge. I think, some more for some people than others, depending on your work situation. Since I do massage, that's pretty much the worst possible job to have in this circumstance. So, not doing that at all. Pretty much just flying solo here. And so figuring out how to adapt to that is interesting. Physically, mentally, emotionally, you all might be doing quite different things than you're used to. And there's this kind of like global heaviness that goes on. So my intent with this class is just to give some rest from that, but also some recognition of what your body's been through, what your mind and your heart is going through, and hopefully that you're just here in your space, your room, wherever you're at, you're able to really allow yourself to settle into that and to process whatever's going on, because it's a lot and your body is holding on to it as best it knows how. So let's just start with a moment's appreciation for that. You can kind of check in. Make sure you're seated comfortably. You're welcome to lay down too. Start to observe your breath. You don't have to change it at first. Just notice. Fast or slow. Deep or shallow. Smooth or jittery. More powerful inhale or exhale. Just use your breath to gauge where are you at right now. Observing your little space here, and if you're like me and you've been spending a lot of time in your little space, just kind of seeing it with fresh eyes. Open your eyes and look around and find whatever is beautiful in the space that you're in. What do you see? What do you hear? Are there smells or tastes? And then definitely sensation to bring you in to your body, into this moment. So if it's comfortable to close your eyes, you can close your eyes. And I will say on that front too, once you kind of get in the groove of this, you really shouldn't have to watch my video at all. I'm here as visual reference, but it's your own space and time. So as long as my cues make sense, you can be totally in your own zone with this. So eyes can be open or closed. Allow your breath to deepen, just gradually, one round at a time. If there is any of that kind of surface level jitteriness, or you notice the pace is still pretty rapid, take another deep breath in and then sigh it out on your exhale. Just to clear another layer of whatever funk or distraction is there. And if that feels good, try it 2 more times. We'll start to get into this 3-part inhale. If you already know what that is, you can start anytime. Yeah, otherwise it's what it sounds like. So you'll imagine your torso in 3 segments. You've got low belly, low ribs, and upper chest. And as you breathe in, you'll take a small sip into your low belly, a pause. Small sip into your low ribs, a pause. And then breath all the way up to your collarbones. You'll pause at the top. And then the exhale is 1 long, steady stream out, and that could be through your nose or through your mouth if you need that clearing exhale to release a layer of tension. So I'll show you a few rounds of this. It is really helpful to use your hands as guidance, right? So we're playing with how to guide the breath into specific areas in the body so that we can start to kind of light up those more subtle sensations that are there. So take just 1 more round of normal breath in, breath out. And then begin when you're ready. Start with just small breath into low belly, low ribs, upper chest. And as you exhale, let it cascade out all the way to emptiness. Again, breath into low belly, low ribs, upper chest. As you exhale, feel for what's softening, settling. Okay, so continue a few rounds like that at your own pace. Brain slow down with the pace of your breath slowing. So there's nothing else to do but just observe this ebb and flow of breath. Observe your body's preferences. You might feel like it's easy to breathe into your low belly, but not so much into your chest. Yeah, and it's no big deal, whatever happens. Whether it feels even or whether you feel kind of directed towards one of those spaces in particular is all good. So try a few more rounds on your own. Let's go for it 1 more time. And then take just 1 long, steady breath in, all the way up to the top of your collarbones. Hold it just as long as is comfortable. Feel your body completely full of breath. Exhale whenever you're ready. Get as empty as you can possibly be, and then pause just for a beat or 2 in that emptiness. Your breath will know when to come back in. So a few rounds like that. As you inhale, fill all the way up to the top. Feel belly, ribs, chest expanding. As you exhale, feel all of those places settling into their groove. perhaps heightened sensation, whatever's there for you. Whenever your breath starts to stir up, just get interested in that. Let's do 3 more rounds like that. So strong, long, complete breath in. A little pause at the top. And then complete exhale. Brief pause at the bottom. You don't have to force it. Yeah, let the breath come in when it's ready. Pace. One more time like that. You can let your hands rest in your lap or at heart center. And then open your eyes again. Look around your space again. Just curious if anything looks or feels at all different. Yeah, what's that kind of initial shimmer of your practice opening up, of your body receiving some different stimulation. Yeah, and I'm a big fan of these incremental changes, right? So when we're talking about adaptation, not surprising if things don't just shift drastically all of a sudden. And same goes with your body when we move through these postures. Really seek out and enjoy just those little smallest nuggets of pleasure. It could be the simplest thing that you wouldn't even think you could feel or connect to. So be willing to surprise yourself as we move along here. And you can shift onto hands and knees. Okay, so you might want a blanket or bath towel or whatever you got going on underneath your knees for support. Okay, if you do have blocks, they're not essential, right? They can be very helpful. I always use them. But if you don't have anything that feels like that would be about the right size, don't worry about it too much. Yeah. So for now, plant your hands to the floor. Spread out through your fingers and curl under through your toes. And start to feel into the texture of your mat, the span of your palms, broadening of soles of your feet. And then cat-cow it when you're ready. So arch your spine on the inhale, extension. And then around as you exhale, flexion in your spine. And keep carrying that at the pace of your own breath. Inhale to extend. And exhale to flex. And you're still very much curious about where your breath is moving. Whether it's low belly, pelvis, low back. Maybe you can feel the cage of your ribs starting to broaden. Maybe for you it's really up in that space under collarbones or beneath shoulder blades. Just check it out. Where are you feeling? What are you feeling? And are there little kind of unique flares you can give to this movement to make it that much more enjoyable? Your own particular touch. That may involve shifting around side to side. Forward and back in circles. Right? And again, if, I don't know, if there is a sense of like self-consciousness when you're in a public yoga class, man, now is the time to just bust out whatever movement feels good, right? Because nobody's watching you, you're in your own space. So really follow that, yeah? You can make weird sounds as you breathe. Nobody's gonna know about it. Right? There's so many little details that can bring up that just enhanced level of enjoyment in the simplest movements. So give it 3 more rounds to experiment. Take a little risk with how you move, how you breathe. Right? And how willing you are to connect to what's good, but also what's challenged, right? There may be places in the body that feel creaky or really stuck, just not quite ready to open. Respect that, yeah. Be equally interested in that. So draw a last round of breath here. Exhale completely. And then optional block, you'll take it in your left hand. And I think, I'm not gonna bother mirroring you guys. I don't really know how this comes across on video, so I'm just gonna call it rights and lefts. So take a block in your left hand if you like. Kick your right leg straight off to the side, okay? And place that left hand just beneath your shoulder as you start to reach up through your right arm and start to play open into this entire wingsuit of the right side body. Expand some breath in between your ribs. Feeling the whole circumference of your rib cage expanding. And you can play into other movements that may or may not be fully in your screen, but movements of your fingers, your wrist, your elbow. You can turn your gaze in different directions. Right? Trust all these moving parts, knowing how to work together. There's not just one particular muscle group we're stretching, it's an entire kind of wetsuit of fascia that holds structure to your body here. So draw another deep breath in on this side. Wiggle your fingers or jaw or eyebrows, a little extra expression. And then as you exhale, release down and walk your hands over towards that right foot. Okay, again, you can go blocks or no blocks. So walk just over towards the right until you feel an interesting something start to happen through right inner thigh. You may feel it through the span of both hips, pelvis. Possibly subtle movements through your right ankle here. You can point and flex or circle through that foot. Feel free to bend or straighten the knee and experiment. And is there a placement that's more comfortable for you? So there's a lot of latitude with these postures. If you haven't taken my class before, you'll realize, I don't often say the names of poses. A lot of times they're adaptations or things I've made up. But just to give you that latitude to explore and play. It doesn't have to look like this familiar pose that you know. And we'll start to take it into a flow. So on your next inhale, come back over to the left hand under your shoulder, and then right side yawns open, huge inhale. As you exhale, swim back over towards the right, just until you start to feel right inner thigh, adductors. Okay, so as you inhale, you'll come to the left, reach through the right arm at any angle. And as you exhale, you'll float over towards the right. Let's do that 3 more times, your pace. You can stay experimenting with those pauses at the top of your inhale or the bottom of your exhale. Give yourself all the time in the world to feel all the variety of sensation that's here for you. Okay, and once more. Sweep them with an inhale. Come on back through center, plant both hands. And then with a little bit of strength and tone, pick up that right leg and swing it back behind you. Extend it straight back behind you at first. Plant your right hand more firmly and extend your left arm, hand straight forward. And just hang out here. A lot of times we do these little pulses. Notice what it's like to just feel into the stability now of right hand, right shoulder, right, left hip, keeping you steady. And then when you're ready, you can create a little bit of movement. So on your inhale, send both limbs, lifted limbs, over to the right. And as you exhale, swoop them over to the left. Range of motion doesn't matter so much. Just play with this kind of curiosity of your balance as you move to the right on your inhale, to to the left on your exhale. You can follow your fingertips with your gaze if you like. Try that 3 more times. Okay, it's a mellow class. This might be like the most effortful thing we're gonna do, so if it's starting to feel a little bit fiery, not surprising. If you need to sigh it out with your breath, go for it, make some noise. Give it 1 more movement like that, to the right. And then release your left hand to the floor. Send your right leg all the way over towards the left side of your mat, and you can gaze over your left shoulder. Just lean into any softening sensation in your hips. One more round of breath. Brain slowing just to be with that round of breath. Cool, and then pick up your right leg. Give just a few circles of that knee in space, so you can take it 3 times in one direction, and 3 times in the other direction. Again, left glutes in particular might be getting kind of jittery at this point. Okay, so enough of that. You can set it down. Bring your knees wide, bring your big toes to touch, and bow out into child's pose for a moment. Soften your forehead to the mat. Take 3 deep breaths in, and every time you exhale, give yourself a sigh of relief. You might try a 2-part exhale one more time, which is just like what it sounds. With a little extra oomph, it sounds... When you're ready to rise up, come back to hands and knees. And then find block or whatever prop you've got. Take that under your right shoulder, right wrist under right shoulder. Kick your left leg off to the left side of your mat. And on your inhale, reach up through the left arm. And at first, just kind of exploring initial impressions on this left side. Might be similar, but it might be drastically different than the other side. We've all got our little interesting asymmetries, so explore yours for a moment here. How does it feel best to move fingers, wrist, elbow, shoulder, neck, jaw, weird faces, all good. As you exhale, slow motion shift from there over to the left. Again, there's not a real precision with it, but just walk your hands towards that left foot until you start to feel left inner thigh, maybe left hamstring opening up. And take a few breaths to lean into that first impression here. Ready, we'll start to flow it side to side, and you can move 1 movement per breath, but if you get into something real interesting and you'd rather hang out there for a good while, then hang out for a good while. Okay, otherwise it's inhaling here and exhaling to swing over towards that left foot, lean into left inner thigh opening. Okay, take it 3 times at your pace. Inhale to yawn, open that whole left side. And exhale to dial it a little more specific towards left inner thigh, that kind of whole inner stripe of your left leg. Last time like that. then slowly come back through center. Plant both hands real steady and pick up that left leg with a little bit of oomph so you can start to feel that engagement through your glutes and kind of the whole outer line of your left leg. And then bring it straight back behind you. Let your left hand get a little steadier into the floor and reach your right hand straight forward. And just pause and hang with this sensation. Lengthen the back of your neck. Your brain can trace the space between right fingertips and left toes. Yeah, all working together, all these very distant parts. Yeah, part of the whole. And then with your next inhale, send both limbs over towards the left. As you exhale, swing both over towards the right, and you can move your gaze if you like, or keep a steady gaze towards the floor. Inhaling to the left. Exhaling to the right. And one more time like that. And then release your right hand to the floor. Send your left foot over towards the right side of your mat and plant it down. I don't know if you guys can see from here, but foot on the floor. And then gaze over your right shoulder. You can let your breath move into whatever opening is happening. Through hips, lower body, wherever you feel it. And then lift that foot, again with just enough engagement. Stay steady and take 3 slow circles of your hip in one direction. And 3 in the other direction. Okay. And then you've got that just enough firiness in your muscles to feel like, oh, okay, I'm aware of those muscle groups. You can come back to hands and knees. You can go child's pose like we did before, or you can go on a Hatasana. I'm going to turn the screen down just a tiny bit so if you don't know what that is, you can see from here. Hands and knees. And then slide your hands further forward. Yeah, can you see from here? And take your hands in prayer overhead. This is one variation, which will bring in a little extra tricep opening. If that's uncomfortable in your shoulders, arms straight, hands close together or wide apart. Either way, soften your forehead to the mat and let your spine and just bridge between hips and heart. And let your breath sway that space just gently with one more round, inhaling and exhaling. And then slide on back from hands and knees. You can press up. Here let's come through downward facing dog. So plant your hands with a little more intention, all your fingertips rooted, and lift your hips up and back. Okay, and if downward dog is not your jam for whatever reason, hands and knees is totally great. You can stay with those cat-cow-like movements. But if downward dog does feel good, you might go for all sorts of mobility here. You can pedal your feet, bending one knee at a time. You can rock your heels from side to side. You might shake your head loose. See what muscles in your face want to give some expression. Observe, where has your body created some adaptation just since we started these movements? What's up for you that you didn't notice before? Where is your mind a little bit more engaged? Where is there more challenge, right? Sometimes when we give ourselves that space to connect, it's like, oh, then we feel safe to allow for those challenges to come in. So know that that's all welcome. And from whatever position, whether you were on hands and knees or downward facing dog, make your way into a forward fold. Okay. So bring your feet I would say wider than hip width apart, maybe almost the width of your mat. Again, you might have the assistance of blocks or drums or whatever you're using at home to steady yourself here. And then begin to pedal your feet here. So bend one knee at a time, especially if you didn't get this action in down dog. Find now that bit of swagger in your hips. You can create as much mobility as you like. Cool. And then cross your right foot over your left. Lean your hips a good bit to the left. Take your hands over to the right. There's a lot of rights and lefts, yeah. Soften a little bend into your left knee so it's not totally locked out. Right knee will definitely be bent here. Okay. And it's a bit of a funky one, so if you haven't done it before, play around with finding the angle that works well for you. If you find that there's some knee, hip issue where you're like, that does not work well for me, you can always stay with just feet hip width or wider apart. But this is a way to lean into that whole stripe of IT band that cuffs up around your pelvis and flows all the way down to your tibia, so shin bone. You might feel an extension from there all the way down to your ankle. There's lots of potential sensation here. So lean with it, sway with it. Invite your breath into it. Okay, and then you could pause in center and simply switch sides. I'll show you the fancy way to do it, just in case you're feeling fancy. So you've had right foot crossed over your left. Start to turn to the left. And then just keep turning. You'll have to lift your heels. Keep turning until you can turn no more, and then you'll be on the other side. You might have to adjust your feet. And if you had no idea what just happened with that, don't worry about it. We'll be here with the left foot crossed over the right. Okay, micro bend in your right knee. Hips start to lean more to the right, and hands on blocks go to the left. Okay, again, always the option to do it with feet just classic hip width or wider apart. Should have said on the other side, but option to invite breath even up more into that right side by reaching your right arm towards the left side of the room. Okay. Draw another breath. Curious to see, can you invite it right into that source of tension? Might feel a little abstract, it might feel spot on. Just curious, can your breath move into that band of your hips or flow down your leg? Maybe yes, maybe no. What adaptation is happening here? For one more round, what do you feel changing in your body just in a single breath? Bring it on back. Stand hip width apart. Press stronger through your feet. Okay, take a moment to kind of neutralize your spine here. So lengthen the crown of your head towards the front of the room, wherever that is for you. And extend your tailbone towards the back of the room, and then oomph up through your low belly. So as you draw your low belly in, feel that you can press down more through your feet. Okay, you're welcome to bend your knees if there's any low back crankiness going on, and then hover your arms out to the sides. Take an extra long breath in here, and then as you inhale, rise up to stand. Step it back a notch. I'm going to adjust the screen actually from here. Stand by one. Okay, so come to stand, take up some space. Again, you might lift your gaze. Let it travel around the room, and as you do, arms are branching out and fingers traveling through space. You can make up any gestures here. Maybe touch each fingertip to your thumb. You start to involve movement through your wrists. Just straight up flexion, extension, or more circle-like motion. Finding the gestures that your hands want to make Again, to bring this kind of curiosity of sensation up to the surface. Sweet. With your next inhale, extend your arms up overhead. And as you exhale, interlace your hands behind your head and let your head rest back into your clasp. Find this sweet spot of equal length through the front of your throat and the back of your neck. Okay. So gaze is level with the horizon. You might find a specific point to gaze at. For me, it's the hangboard is like right within eyesight. Right, again, just like simple objects in our house that could become more interesting, that could be a helpful drishti or hold for your gaze, kind of focal point. Okay, so pick something pretty specific, like actually I'm picking a little knot that's in the wood on that hangboard. Okay, and whatever you're holding that's right in your gaze, keep that and come up onto your tiptoes. Don't have to get too crazy with it, but just rising up onto your tiptoes to start to mess with your balance a little bit. You can rise higher and lower. Notice what happens with your breath. Even though it seems like it might, it doesn't help hold your balance, hold your breath, so keep breathing. Okay, and then you can release your arms again if you like. That sense of extending out into space, creating as much or as little movement as you like, right? Sometimes just a single held gesture really feels good. Sometimes you want to get more wily with it. But stay on your tiptoes and kind of mess with your balance on purpose. So lean into the right foot and the left. Lean your weight more forward and more back. If you want to get particularly tricky with it, close your eyes. Still envision that point that you were just gazing at, but with eyes closed, it'll definitely amp up the necessity for proprioception, that sense of where am I at in space, right? And how do I know that? What do I anchor to when I don't have sight? And surprising how your body can adapt, and sometimes easily and sometimes not so easily, right? So again, it's not the goal to be like, I am balanced and that's it, I've got it. Right, be willing to wobble a bit here. Try another breath to experiment. And then as you exhale, set your heels down, release your hands. If you want to shake out, if there was any over-efforting going on, you can shake that out. Okay, and then take your hands to your hips to steady them. You might even use your thumbs around the backside to guide your tailbone towards the floor. Imagine you could grow a big old monkey tail towards the floor and how helpful that would be for your balance. Okay, and then from your invisible tail rooting down, feel in particular the left leg really anchored into the floor. Yeah, so roots could spread out through the entire floor. Let your foot get as broad as possible. Lift your right knee. It might bring it about to the height of your hip. Okay, and then take right hand to right inner knee, left hand to the front of your left hip, and guide your right knee open. Just a few times like this, open and close. Go for staying as solid as possible through that left side. Okay, so that's kind of calling back what that engagement through left glutes that we were using before when we were on hands and knees. Same idea here. Keep your left butt really firming in. And then next time you bring your right knee over to the right, you can take your foot above your knee, you can take it below your knee, you can kickstand it down by your ankle, whatever works for you, okay? Just not right on your inner knee. You don't want to press against that joint too firmly. Okay, so find your version, Vrikshasana tree pose. And then with that same curiosity about balance, maybe you're choosing that single drishti, that single gaze point to hold, or a single gesture to hold, or maybe you're starting to expand, yeah? As much or as little movement as you want. Okay, you might take a brief look around to realize if there's any tripping hazards in your way that you're aware of where all that is at. But you can close your eyes also and be with the wobbliness, the falling out, and then the coming back. Okay, so it's cool to practice falling in these controlled manners. So so that we realize how our body responds to that, right? That moment of losing it, and then finding it again. So you might play around with that just for another 3 breaths on this side. Right? Some days we really feel the need for that steadiness. So if you feel the need for that, choose a version of the pose that keeps you steadier. Invite your breath to steady your balance for 1 more round. And then release back. Set your right foot down. And shake out through the left side. Okay, and then switch sides when you're ready. So first, stable through that right leg, solid as a tree trunk. Okay, monkey tail of your tailbone rooting down. Find that oomph of your low belly, holding it together. And then lift your left knee. Take left hand to left inner knee, right hand to front of your hip, and guide your left knee open and closed a few times. So you're just testing that strength, that firmness through right glutes, right? So we're not getting all sorts of wild and swaying here, but we're holding that anchor of the right side. Okay, give it 1 more like that. And then with the left knee out to the side, you choose. Could be the same, could be different from what you did on the other side. So foot to inner thigh, to inner shin, to inner ankle. You might start out with your hands in prayer and your gaze steady and direct. And then if you so choose, you can begin to expand your options for movement and your challenges for balance. And keep your mind really supple with the way that you find and lose balance. Not super attached to balancing, right? Just as interested in the wobbles. And if you're finding like it's just a really steady day and this is super easy, again, you can close your eyes or you can come on tiptoes. That'll always mess with you a little bit more. Still allowing for whatever movement your body wants to create here, or really indulging in the stillness your body's asking for another deep breath. Okay, and then exhale, release that. Shake it out through that right side. Bring yourself to a stable stance once more. Feel that solid ground beneath your feet. Rise through the crown of your head. Whole body participating in just steady upright shape. And then inhale to float the arms. And with your exhale, bow forward. As you inhale, lift up halfway. And as you exhale, plant your hands, step your feet back, and we'll use this just as transition. So if you'd like to come into downward dog, be my guest. If you'd like to come to hands and knees and do a round or 2 of cat-cow movements, great. Your breath flowing, and adjust the angle here again slightly. From whichever position you're in, swing your legs around to the front of your space. And then now, if you do have a strap, grab it. If you don't, scarf, belt, anything like that will work perfectly. Okay, so swing your legs around to the front. Check in with your body temperature too, right? As we're starting to mellow it down, if you want a few extra layers, you can grab that. And then I think I'm going to swivel side lying here so that if you do need the visual reference, it'll be a little bit easier to see this way. So come down onto your back. Draw your knees into your chest. Just start to roll around a little bit here. You can rock your knees in circles. Rock back and forth along the length of your spine. moment's twist from side to side. Okay, and then unravel whatever strap-like item you've got and loop it around right at stirrup height. So right big toe mound, baby toe mound. And so on your right leg straight towards the ceiling, extend your left leg either straight on the floor or you can bend your knee and put your foot on the floor. Observe what's most stable in your pelvis. Okay, and then I like to wrap the strap around my knuckles. Just gives you a little more solid, something to hang on to. A lot of times I'll see, this kind of deal, and it just doesn't have to be that much effort. So straight arms, soft grip. Press up through your right heel as you gently weight the strap, letting your arms get heavier, letting your shoulder blades melt into the mat. And then take some slow circles of that leg in one direction. And the other direction. Stirring into that space where femur and pelvis connect. Observe if it's fluid, easy. Observe if there's any little hitches along the way. How do you adapt? You find room for breath even in that unlikely space. Draw another round with it. And then pause with your heel right up over your hip. Press up even more through your heel. Okay. And that might bring even a little bit more into the deep calf muscles, soleus. Yeah, if you've been doing a lot more leg-related activities lately, it might bring even a little bit of jitteriness into this leg, which can be subtle or it can be sometimes pretty obvious. Yeah, it's a sense of nervous system letting go. So invite that as long as it's comfortable. It's all good. From here, get strong through the left leg. Find engagement in your low belly, so think belly button towards your spine, and use that engagement to lift your left leg with support from your core. Right? Doesn't look super impressive, but it's still a core action. Okay, and then with just as much engagement, let your right leg slowly lower. So we're just switching sides here. Now your left foot is in the strap. Toes softly curled back. And then press up through your left heel. You can begin those slow motion, lazy circles. Send the left leg in one direction. And the other direction. Your body is getting used to resting on the floor. Tap in more and more to that support that the ground offers. Sense that you don't have to effort through these postures. So much as find that just enough movement to give you enough sensation to make something interesting happen here. Invite something to open, something to settle. You can press up even more through that left heel. Invite that deeper calf stretch and potentially shakiness through the left leg. As long as that's comfortable for you, you can invite in that sense that you're releasing, right? Not just muscle, fascial tissue, but also nerves, right? That's a physical structure in there, and that's got tension to let go of, for sure. Let that go when you're ready. So take the strap off your left leg, and then just for one more moment of engagement, you can lower the left leg with control. Set your strap aside. Let's see that. Okay. And lengthen your legs out. Extend your arms up overhead. Stretch your whole self here. And then bend both knees. Plant your feet about the width of your mat and rock your knees from side to side. You can reach your arms out to the sides. And as your knees go to the right, send your gaze to the left. As your knees go to the left, send your gaze to the right. So there's this revolution happening through the entire length of your spine. And as you move your head, you can do this with open eyes. The movement of your eyes is actually carrying that twist all the way up into the fascial wrappings of your brain. Yeah, which, not surprising if you're like, I don't feel that, or like, what is that supposed to feel like? But it's just that curiosity, right? We're affecting every fiber of our being with these movements, so just open to experiencing more. Listening a little deeper as you move a little slower. Breathe a bit fuller. Next time you drop your knees over to the left, you can pause exactly as you are. Flex through your feet just a touch. This will help protect your knee joints. Okay, and then option to place your left foot on top of your right outer knee. Check it out if you don't know what I'm talking about. That added weight will give a little more tug into this whole line. It's one of my favorite ways to stretch IT band. Okay, because you're just getting this gentle kind of ungluing as it gets unstuck from the quads, around it. Okay, and then you can also reach your right arm up on an angle if you want to carry the stretch up through right side body. You can rest your left hand somewhere on that right side to feel, where does your breath want to open up into here? And tone down the muscle effort even more. Observe, where does your body adapt and shift with no conscious effort from you, just because it knows how. Yeah, it knows where and how much to soften. You can come out of that real slow. Come back through center. Take just a brief pause with your knees resting against each other and your hands resting on your low belly. Ultra deep breath in, maybe that 2-part exhale. As you breathe out. And then try the other side, knees to the right. Place your right ankle on top of your left outer knee if you want to, right? And if you did it on the other side and it felt great, it may or may not feel good on this side, so stay honest with what your body's asking for. Reach through that left arm to create any interesting angle of pull. It's a cool way to find obliques and lats, QL, all these interesting muscles that kind of give your body dimension, right? It's not just front or back, but this whole wrapping here. How effective your breath is at softening these spaces that your mind may not be able to. Slowly release. Come back through center again, find neutral. Knees bowed in, hands to low belly. Gigantic belly breath in. Exhale, you can 2-part it if you like. And give it a bit of resonance. Yeah, use vibration to shake loose some deeper layer. So try it a few times like that. Inhale. And exhale as a...
you've ever really wanted to do this breath with all of your heart and belly, right? Go for it when you're just comfortable in your own space. Sweet. And from there, you can take another twist if you like. If you'd rather find a deeper sensation in the twist, there's so many different options. I'm not even going to show you all of them, but any simple twist or any way that you want to kind of sprawl around in it. I guess I am going to show you a little bit. Yeah, any which way that you'd like to move here that just feels completing to you. And if that's not a twist, but there's some other muscle group that feels like, that you would just love to get to that one spot, now's the time. Happy baby is always a good call. To me, this feels like a really good kind of sacral root. Yeah, so if you can really get your sacrum, the very base of your spine, the back of your pelvis to the floor in this pose, there's such a cool release and opening that can happen there, or however creative you want to get with the legs. Yeah. So give yourself 3 to 5 more breaths to explore. Any last movements? And if you're already feeling like, man, I am super ready to rest, then you can set yourself up to rest for a moment here. So again, I'll show you options. If you have a bolster, great, you can put it under your knees. And if you don't, maybe you have a pillow that works just as well. And then if you've got blanket or bath towel is actually perfect for this too. Take it and roll it up. So smooth it out first. I'll show you in a moment so you can see. And then roll it up. So you've got a roll something like that size. This is going to go under your neck when you're laying down. We've all got different proportions, but it shouldn't be pushing your head forward. It should be cradling the base of your skull. Okay, so your head is still resting flat, but that whole curve of your cervical spine is supported. Okay, and then you've got something under your knees if you like. And if you'd like a layer over you, if you're cold, cover yourself completely. Even if you're not, blanket over your heart and belly. There's a really soothing added weight to this, settling down. So create as much comfort as you can here. Give yourself a full 5 minutes of rest. And just so you know, I don't want to startle anyone, but I'm going to start playing the flute at some point, so that's going to come into the picture. Good, a few moments of silence though, and fill that silence with your breath. And if your mind has a hard time with stillness and silence, I'll offer up this metta meditation. If you're already in your own zone, you can totally tune out my words. But if it's helpful to you to have something mental to anchor to while you're resting, if there's ever a time for kind of universal loving kindness, this is the message, and it's super simple. Start with yourself and repeat these words just silently in your own head. May I be well. May I be happy and safe. May I be healthy and strong. May I be free from suffering. May I be at peace. If you have a particular intention for yourself in this moment, state that as well. May I be whatever it is that you're hoping. Feel the physical sensation of sending that goodwill inward. Where does it land? What does it feel like? And And then allow it to expand out. First, choose someone that you actually don't like very much, right? Someone that gives you a hard time in whatever way. It could be someone in your personal life or just someone that you're aware of in the public. And see what it's like to send that same loving intention towards them. Use their name. May they be well. Just like you'd hope for yourself or anyone you love. May they be happy and safe. May they be healthy and strong. May they be at peace. May they be free from suffering. May they be at peace. Notice where that lands in your body right now. What do you feel? Sending well wishes to somebody you usually wouldn't wish well. Okay. And then you can end with someone that is easy to love. Might be just your favorite person or animal. Use their name, might picture their face. May they be well. May they be happy and safe. May they be healthy and strong. May they be free from suffering. May they be at peace. Again, notice the impressions in your body. Sending love towards someone that you know easily how to love. Give yourself the leisure of just another minute of rest here. And heads up for flute. Practicing in your own home at your own pace is that you don't have to wake up from Shavasana at any time, any specific time. You can rest here as long as you like. But just know when you are ready to rise, just take with you what's good, some inner knowing and appreciation of your body, your mind, your heart's amazing capacity to adapt. You can move slowly back to a seat. Again, or not, please, by all means, rest as you like. If you are upright and sitting, you can bring hands to heart center. And I have to say, I didn't know, quite how the whole video thing would go. It feels a little abstract to me, but I do feel that there's a connection there, and especially when I see your names pop up and your faces and your comments, it really means a lot. I've definitely missed teaching a lot, and I've missed all of you guys, and it'll be that much sweeter when we're back in person. But I think I'll do this again. I wasn't quite sure, just wanted to give it a try. And I just really appreciate you guys for showing up and being present in this different way and figuring out how to adapt. So thank you all so much. Namaste. And also, if there's anyone you know that would have wanted to see this video and did not, we post all of them to the page after the fact, so it'll be up for, you know, however long. You can go and find it anytime, and there's a lot of good stuff on there. It's pretty cool what everyone is doing through Earth Treks. So I hope to see you all again very soon. Enjoy your evening.